GM to YouTube. We're doing Colosseum budget-ish teaching stream. Okay. Soulreaper Axe got changed relatively recently, and it's actually usable. So it's like in between Tent Whip and Scythe. It's 11% better than Tent Whip, so it's quite a bit better, but it's 400 mil. Okay, so I'm using the exact same setup, but subbing out Tent Whip. And then I'm using a Sang. So I believe in the budget run I used a Trident. Trident works fine, but Sang Staff has the potential to heal you at the beginning of wave if you're not full health for whatever reason. With Soulreaper Axe, I don't think you're going to run into that very much, so I don't think it matters that much to have Sang, because it's going to heal you between waves. I did just test, and even between waves, the Soulreaper Axe does decay in its stacks, and it heals you back. What they changed with Soulreaper Axe, if you don't know, the stacks decay at 20 ticks now, instead of what it was before. I think it was 10 ticks. And it refunds you the health when it loses a stack. So you get 8 health every time it loses a stack. So you never are losing health. So that makes it way, way more usable. But it does decay between waves. The odds that you're going to be low health and then healing like after that wave when you're already losing stacks between waves, kind of unlikely. This is my setup. This is what we're running. You could just skip the hammer with Sang equipped, because that's a one-handed item, and not bring it. I think it's worth it. It makes the boss a little bit easier, and most people die at the boss. You could also just bring Sang and put Elder Maul in this slot if you have it. It's 150 mil though, so I'm kind of figuring you don't. Other items, we have SGS for specking. I've noticed you get a little bit less use out of it with Soulreaper Axe because you're trying to upkeep your stacks, but it's still very, very useful. And then I have Atlatl. I have an Addle. This 2 shots the Mage, even without Rigor on, and with no boost. So that's really nice. And I think that's all there is to talk about. Okay, I think we're good. Gnomonkey, how 500 mil budget? Unlucky, dude. Can you do no Blood Fury? So the great thing about Soulreaper Axe is it doesn't drain as fast as Scythe. So that's nice. You don't have to worry about that. Pog. It even drains less fast than Tent Whip does, because Tent Whip is 4 tick. You want to run over here, and we're pulling runes. So you'll see I have Death, Fire, Soul, Cosmic. We're running Arceus. And I'm pulling blood runes out of my staff. If you're using a trident, you can also pull runes. Same with Shadow. You can pull runes you need. So just whatever you need, make sure you have the proper things in your pouch so you can get Death Charge and Thrall. I like to move my stuff around a little bit. That's a little bit better. Should be good. Okay. Blasphemy first is always going to be the choice. I've noticed Frailty with Soulreaper Axe is quite a bit worse than it normally would be. So we're going to try to avoid getting that. If you have to, you have to. Okay. Trident only worked if toxic. Yeah, it has to be a swamp trident. A regular trident, you can't pull runes. So it has to be a swamp trident. Flare, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to try to talk about invos a little bit. They have changed them since I did a guide a long time ago. Every time you start a wave, you're just going to immediately take out the Berserker because he maxes really high. And then one of the other 2 you take out. It doesn't really matter. You can maintain stacks if you take out the Archer first. Doesn't really matter. Swap to Addle to kill the Mage and just axe the Archer or SGS spec. Both are good. Another thing to keep in mind is check on your SGS occasionally because it doesn't show your spec. So it's really easy to lose track of your spec meter and just never use it. The Shamans are just, they mage you. That's it. Colossi, every 5 attacks, they'll throw a spear in the air, and you have to move out of the way. And I believe it hits for the same amount they would hit you off prayer. But it's guaranteed to hit you. There's a plugin to show spec while using Axe. What is it called? I haven't heard of that. Spec overlay. Oh, okay. Interesting. So I could stick this here. So that's when you have Axe on, it shows you. Okay, that's neat. So that plugin's called Spec Overlay if you want to use that. That's neat. I'll keep that on. That's useful. Let us go again. Frailty's normally okay to pick, but I try to avoid taking it as long as possible with Axe because it prevents you from banking health, which is annoying. Actually, start waves praying ranged. I keep doing this. Oh, I hit the wrong man. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this guy up and I'll explain that stack. This is our first stack, and this is how we're going to solve every single stack from now on. There's reinforcements that come after 40-second mark, exactly 40 seconds on the dot. So it is really useful to have the speed splits plugin. So you can actually see when they're going to come. You'll see 37, When it's 40 seconds on the dot, boom, spawn. So that works. Should you pray Mage on wave 3 at the start? So a Colossi is always going to hit you harder than a Shaman. They max way harder, even though you're more likely to tank it. When you have a stack, basically, you're just going to start from middle of pillar and go to this tile. You're going to pray against the thing in the back and then the thing in the front, right? So out, thing in the back, thing in the front. So that off-ticks them. And that's the same across the board. That's always what you're going to do. Oops. Humble. Oh, really common thing is people always use North Pillar. I hate North Pillar with a passion. North Pillar prevents you from rotating Pillar and doing stacks. The great thing about South Pillar is you can do stacks on both sides. When you have stuff here, or when you have stuff here, you can rotate Pillar both ways. You can't do that on North Pillar. Because if you come out this way, it's going to be into everything else, and the stack up here can only be done in this direction, right? Also, it's worse for reinforcement, so I always use South. I always use South. What if the Shaman is in the front? We'll see if that comes out. I'll take Flare through here. Ideal with invos is to take a new invo if possible. That's a good option. Or finish an invo, right? So in that case, I had 2 that were decent. I had Flare 3 and I had Blasphemy. I take Flare 3 because it gets it out of the pool and the game stops showing it to you. So that gives you a higher chance at getting the invos you want, right? Okay, this is our first Manticore. These queue up 3 attacks, and then as soon as the projectile starts moving towards you, the animation starts, that's when you flick through all the prayers. So Mage, range, melee. They can randomly swap the first 2 orbs, so it could be ranged first, and then Mage, and then melee, but it's the same no matter what. You wait for the animation, then flick through them. Oh, I thought he was going to die. What is your deal? Oh, I'm not using thralls. A lot of people use Ancients in Colosseum. I think that's complete utter trolling. Thralls give you Death Charge, which lets you spec more, which lets you SGS more. So the point of Ancients is to, like, heal things with Blood Barrage. But why would you heal off things when you can heal off things and do more damage, right? Death Charge is super, super strong. Okay, I have Manti Mayhem as a choice. I try to avoid Manti Mayhem. If you misclick out with Manti Mayhem 1, this just makes the Manticore's attacks do double damage, basically. It does 2 hits per orb, and they both hit you for the same, like, max hit. So it just does double damage. Try to avoid taking this if possible. It's not the worst invo ever, but avoid if possible, I would say. So I have Blasphemy as a choice. That's a way better choice. Oops, pre-ranged. There's a delay at the beginning of waves, so you have time to get your prayer on and react to things. So you can actually change what you're praying if something's far away. Big reason I have this radius marker. You'll see this red radius. Like, what is that? That's the Shaman. So I have his max range shown. So if it spawns really far away, I know I can avoid it by, like, running in a certain direction. And it also lets you change your prayer depending on what you're seeing, which is good. These are off-ticked by default as long as you pray against it. So you never have to worry about this. As long as you clear what's here, you're good. They're going to be off-ticked. Okay, so this is tricky. This is the one stack that doesn't work normally. You would think go here, pray ranged in the Mage. The Mage is small, so he's going to see you at the same time. So it doesn't work in that direction. So this is a really awkward situation. We're going to go like this. Opposite of what you normally would do. So I'm looking at this Mage to pray through everything. Because I timed it so that it was right after he attacked, I ran out. Okay, and we're good. When you're dealing with a stack, you want to always try to kill the thing with lower health first. So I see people kill things like they'll kill Manticore before like a bunch of things hitting them. Just kill what's lowest HP first so you have to flick less. Just make your life easier. Especially later on, people ignore the Shockwave Colossi, and they're just like, yeah, I'll just ignore this and I'll let it keep hitting me. The Shockwave Colossus hits you like 50s if you mess up, and they only have like 120 health, so... Okay, we have a really bad choice here. I think this is a Quartet angle. Okay, so all of these are really bad choices. Bees is a run killer. I think Bees is the worst invocation. Relentless is okay super late, but it's wave 6 now. So I think we take Quartet here, unfortunately. Bees killed Duro. Unlucky. Poor fella. Pray ranged. So you can see I saw the radius marker, and I knew that the Mage was not going to see me there. So it's kind of useful info. Quartet is really bad because it forces you to deal with something at the beginning of wave that you wouldn't normally have to. And the beginning of wave is the most crucial time of the entire thing. Not to mention it spawns an extra enemy on soul. So that's also bad. Quartet is really bad if you can avoid it. Did he die today? Duro died a while ago. It was like a month ago. Oh, let's do mage block. Okay, it's too late. That's okay. Okay, I did an off tick there. So I'm just looking at the mob that's currently attacking me, which is this, and then seeing how it's going to time out when this walks down. So you can kind of force off ticks. You can get them to see you earlier by walking along this axis, or like I did is running up to this corner so he sees me here instead of here. So you can kind of jiggle things a little bit. I saw that it was going to work out and be fine, so I didn't worry about it too much. I should have done mage blocking, which I'll explain on a later wave. That would have been the better solve. I was not paying attention though, I was chatting. I'm just going to kill this. Okay, when you're off-ticking with a Manticore, like I just did, what you're looking at is, did the Manticore just attack? Manticore's attack cycle is 5 ticks, and then 5 ticks to recharge. So total, it's 10 ticks, and then he fires his 3 attacks. So it's actually the same timing as the other mobs. What you're looking at to try to off-tick things with Manticore, you know they're off-ticked. If they attack, obviously during the orb, that's their style. So if that Jaguar was attacking me during the melee attack, I know I'm safe. Other possibility is 2 ticks before the Manticore attacks or 2 ticks after. Those are all safe and you know you're good. During the orb, 2 ticks before and 2 ticks after are all safe. You know they're all off-ticked. So those are your cues to know that you've got it off-ticked. Okay, here's our first case of a stack with a Manticore. It's the same as everything else. Pray against the thing in the back and then the thing in the front, right? It's Mage. So thing in the back, thing in the front. Just like that. And Javelin Colossus is the easier enemy to kill here. All right, and then the Manticore. Manticores are the tankiest mob in all of Colosseum. They actually have more defense than Soul does. So focus them. I'm going to use an SGS. All right, I have the choice of Doom or Blasphemy 3. Doom is a fairly good choice, but I would only take Doom 1 on a first quiver. I'll take Doom. It's good to lock in new invos that you want, even though I'm not going to upgrade that probably. Okay, always pray Mage at the start of this wave. Shockwaves are very dangerous. And we're unlucky we got a Berserker here. So when you're rotating pillar like this, you want to get away from the main threat. In this case, it was the other side of pillar. And then watch the Manticore and try to flick him to the best of your ability. Okay, I'm going to do a stack here. Thing in the back, thing in the front. It's important to be able to do that quickly because now I'm completely safe. The wave is solved. When the Manticore or when the Minotaur spawns, he's going to come from here. He's going to slot in right here and I'm going to have no issue. So once you're on this side of pillar, you're completely safe. That was actually a pretty tough wave 7. I think that's pretty much the worst it could be. Okay, I'm just going to go get the Minotaur first. And then Shockwave after. You can pull the Minotaur down 1. Manticore can't see you here. And you can be safe from Solar Flare. Okay, Minotaurs. How do those work? Shockwaves just hit you really hard. They're the same as a Javelin. They just attack you with mage attacks. Also, it's as the animation starts that it's attacking you. So it's like this. That's their attack. Minotaurs are weird. They only melee. So you can pray melee against them. But they will full heal anything within range as a replacement for their attack. Anything that's within range of them, they will full heal. And I believe if they are damaged only below 20% or more of their max health. So at this point, the Minotaur would heal the Manticore if he was up. So you have to hit them quite hard for it to actually heal. There's ways to avoid the heal as well. If you're within melee range of the Minotaur, it will always attack you instead of healing. Also, if you have the Minotaur corner trapped, it will not heal. Even though it's not meleeing you, if you have it corner trapped on your diagonal, it will not heal. So a couple useful things you can use to avoid it. Doom 2 or Blasphemy 3, we take Blasphemy 3. Like I said, we try to avoid Manti if possible. Okay, let's pre-ranged. So right there... Oh, I never explained my start tile. Okay, hold on. Let's pull up. Let's deal with the reinforcements, I'll explain that. It's always good if you can to just clear off the side of pillar before the reinforcements come. So then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's solved. So if you can kill this in time, like I'm going to do, I have the wave solved. So we can chill here until Minotaur spawns. My start tile has changed. So this is the B5 tile. This is the typical start tile, but I've changed it to right here. Okay. And the reason I've started here is that allows something to spawn right here. And it turns out that's actually really good. It sounds like a bad thing. You have one extra spawn hitting you off spawn, but that just means there's one thing that if it spawns here, you can immediately pray against it behind pillar. Not to mention you're only 2 tiles out from pillar and can immediately get behind. So in that case, right, I could pray ranged against the first attack here and avoid the mage. So because I started there, I actually avoided a lot of damage. I think this tile is better than B5. Yeah, even for learning. Okay, this is a weird one. So this is 2 things in front of a manticore. Okay, so this is run north here, right? It's not. You start a ways out from pillar. I believe 2 or 3 tiles both work. And we're going to pray against the thing in the front first, and then the thing in the back. So it's backwards. We're going to do this. And then the thing in the back sees you late. Okay, and whenever I'm flicking, I'm staring at the target that starts the attack. So the ranger is attacking right before the manticore in this case. I'm staring at him. And I don't even have to look at the manticore right now. Because attack, flick through your prayers, right? So I see a lot of people try to like keep track of 2 mobs, but really when you're flicking, this is all you need to do. So every 2 attacks, flick through your prayers. Right, so that's all you got to do. So wait for your manticore to fully charge, and then thing in the back, thing in the front. Okay, and this time it's backwards, right? Manticore is the start of the animation. So pray mage, watch the manticore, flick through it. Wave 9 is actually easier than wave 8. So that's ooh, cute little echo crystal. We have bad choices here, right? I would never take Doom 2 on a first quiver unless you have to. Duo is a terrible choice. It makes your wave 11 hell. But we'll do it anyways. It should be entertaining at least. So pray range on these waves because there's no shockwave. Kill this mage. Okay, I have one thing here. So let's try to kill this before the Minotaur spawns, because that solves it. And I'm going to keep track of my timer. So I'm at 28 right now. You get a swing every 3 seconds, right? So I'm kind of gauging. Am I going to make it? Preparing to rotate if I don't. Made it. Okay, we're going to rotate. And back we go. Cool. Let's kill this. So if I didn't make it, unlucky, I'd still just rotate immediately. And then we'd be fine. I'd start taking out the manticores and then work on the Minotaur. And it would just full heal the javelin. That sucks. Unlucky. Is it skill, though, or just learning patterns? Everything in RuneScape is just clicking. So everything is easy. Smile. Also, I can CS when people say sniping is just clicking heads. Bro, it's just point and click adventure. I don't know what your issue is. What's the axe verdict? It seems quite good. I wasn't sure. I thought it might have some issues, but the stacks decay really slowly. So now I'm going to take Frailty. Frailty's my best choice here. Relentless is really bad if you can avoid it. The nice thing about Relentless is it doesn't make Soul any harder. So that's good. Unlike Wave 11, it's not a terrible choice. Okay, double Berserker here. Okay, this is a bad spawn. And it's Mage. Hang on. Rotate back. Okay, I'll try to break down what I just did. That's the worst spawn you can get. Oh, how do I break that down? I'll break it down after the wave. Hang on. Okay, I'm preparing to do a Minotaur heal block or mage block. So I'm watching my timer here. I'm going to do one more hit, and I'm going to stand right here. Pray mage while you can. And get back out of the way. So what that's done, you could see that the Shaman could see me there. And that puts the Minotaur in front of the mage every single time, which is really, really handy. Okay, now we got to kill this. And I just off-ticked them, so I can just stand here. You die, learner. This is the bane of every learner, is that wave, for sure. Classic wave 10. Usually wave 10 is not too bad, but that can just happen. Okay, so the Shaman attacked me right after the Manticore, so I know I'm good. You actually can tank a Shaman just fine if you had to, so not really a big deal. I'm going to rotate this up. So thing in the back, thing in the front, and rotate back. Okay, cool. All right, what did I do there? Okay, so off spawn, I saw that the Manticore was charging up Mage. That tells you that both of them are going to be Mage, right? Both Manticores are the same thing. So I ran over here, and I just tanked a Ranger, and I prayed against the Manticore, because Manticore is more dangerous than a Ranger. You could tank once. I then immediately did a pillar stack coming back. So this is a really awful wave. Because you have to react really fast, and if you don't, you will die. But the nice thing about South Pillar is that when you get a bad wave, you don't just die. You have a way of solving it if you're quick. So that's what happened there. And the other great thing is that once you're down here, you can do Mage block. So that means you're always safe. The wave is solved at that point. So there's always ways of dealing with it on South Pillar. Whereas on North Pillar, you get a spawn like that, you just die. Play worse is entirely subjective when it comes to a first caper. What? I would say dying is objectively worse than not dying, right? So things that make you die more are objectively worse, correct? I don't think it's subjective, objective. I don't think there's any actives at all going on. I think it is just worse. Okay, Myopia is good here. Yeah, we'll take Myopia. Okay, wave 11, hardest wave. And we have Duo, so we might just die here. Very possible. Make sure you pray Mage. Okay, we have 2 mages there. I see they're going to off-tick. And I'm using that to my advantage. Yeah, this is why you don't want Duo, because it makes things very scary. Whenever you're speccing, this is actually like the first time I've specced an Archer. I think maybe the second time the whole run. When you spec an Archer, it's guaranteed max, so it gives you the full heal every single time. It's a lot of health. And we're chilling here because we are safe right now on the bottom of Pillar. I just need to do a Mage block. Okay, trolling. Okay, let's kill this. Okay, we're gonna keep Prey Mage up. I'm just gonna slowly work on the Minotaur. Okay, so big thing I did there that people don't do on first quiver is panic. Panic. Decide that it's all over when you look at the beginning and run around. If in this case I ran up here, my life would be fucking hell. I'd have to re-rotate back and I'd have a double shockwave in front of the Archer. That's dog. That is so bad. If you get the off tick at the beginning and you know you're gonna get the off tick, that was like blatantly obvious I was gonna get the off tick. Part of the benefit of starting here is that you get free off ticks a lot of the time. I saw I was gonna get it and I just made the executive decision to hang out and not rotate Pillar from all the scary things. So if you do that, you keep it under control. I have the wave solve, which could have been a nightmare wave, but I noticed I got the off tick and that saved me. So don't panic and always rotate Pillar. If it looks pretty obvious, you're gonna get an off tick. And don't be afraid of off ticks. I almost never see people go for off ticks, like ever. But off ticks make your life easier, so like go for them. Even if you have to tank a range hit to set up an off tick, that's very worth it. It's very, very worth it. Okay, I'm gonna rotate here. Okay, and both the shockers pull up. I'm gonna just finish these off. And we're done. That's all the waves done. Can you explain how learners can tell? Okay, so right after an attack, you have 5 ticks or 4 ticks that you could fit a different attack in, right? Anything attacked me now, the entire time my prayer's off, it would be off-ticked, right? That's what you're looking for. Did the thing just attack me? Oh, I have a huge gap where if anything else attacks me, it's off-ticked. So I saw both the shockwaves attacked me over here, and the ranger was about to pull up. So I knew right off the bat, hey, those are going to be off-ticked. We're good. Let's not rotate. Let's enjoy our off-tick and stay here. Next wave is Soul. Make sure you pick up everything because you can't reach it. It will teleport you to the center of the arena, so it doesn't matter where you're standing. Make sure you get your items picked up. I have everything picked up, so we're good. It's also good to try to get full spec before Soul. I have 100 right now. We're good. I want to double hammer him, so that's going to make my life easier. Other thing to keep in mind is I have Quartet, so it's going to spawn something at the beginning. But I can use that to get a free death charge, so I get some extra spec off it. Can at least benefit from that. So it doesn't matter where you stand. I could run over to this gate if I wanted to. Next wave is the big quiver, and we have an Echo Crystal on the line. Very scary stuff. These are not good choices. I would take Frailty here. I'm gonna let my stacks go down because I'm gonna explain Soul a second. Frailty is not one you want to be taking if you can avoid it, but the other choices are not good. I am capable of doing Doom with Soul, but if this is you, I would not take it. So I'm going to take Frailty just to show it. If you can just go send Soul and keep your stacks, that's some free health, right? So do that. But I'm assuming most of you are going to need a moment. A brief moment to think, right? So I'm going to start in Hammer and activate my spec. When did you bring Elder? Elder's 150 mil, so I'm just assuming you don't have it. But if you do have it, it's better. Hammer and Accurate, we're going to spec with that. Soul, it's about an 11-second time save on Soul if you land your spec. So that's good. 11 seconds less that you have to fight the boss is good. Okay, Soul. I'm going to try to explain in the moment as well, but it's a little difficult. So the way you do Soul, he has 2 attacks. He has a spear attack. He lunges forward slowly. There's that attack, and there's a shield slam. He slams his shield down. Okay, these both have different area of effects on the ground. So with Soul, what you're looking for is what attack he's doing. Majority of the time, he's going to do spear because there's a lot of things that cause him to be forced to do a spear. After each phase, at 90% health, 75% health, 50% health, 25% health, and 10% health. All of these thresholds, there's 5 phases. After each time he phases, he will shoot lightning down, and then he will do a spear. Doesn't matter what he's capable of doing, he's always going to do a spear after that. It's guaranteed he will do a spear. So you know what's going to happen. If he just phased, what's he going to do? A spear. He'll do it every time. So the reason this matters is when he does 2 attacks in a row, it changes the area of effect. So when he does a spear at you, when he does another spear, it's different. It's triple prong instead of double prong. Same with the shield slam. If he does a shield slam, it's 1 tile out from him in a big square. If he does a second shield slam, it does it 2 tiles out, further away. So we need to be keeping track of what his last attack was. Now, what people do, and I talked about it in the Inferno teaching stream, is they fight Soul like they're on a bicycle and they're biking forward and they're staring at the ground while they're bicycling. And they might be biking next to a highway and they're just staring at the ground. I would suggest that you don't stare at the ground. And what I mean by this is keep track of what he just did. And that tells you what to do next. Okay? If he does a spear at you, what are the 2 things he could do next? He could do a second spear, in which case you need to step diagonally, or he could do a shield, in which case you need to step 1 tile out. So we should step 1 tile diagonally next attack. Yes, because it dodges both. Both possibilities are dealt with. That's not biking staring at the ground. That's biking staring forward. That's how you should do Soul. Bike like staring forward. If you don't do that, you'll die. I'm just telling you, you will die. Okay, other possibilities besides his normal auto attacks, a parry attack. So this is the orange. It's signified by orange on his spear. It's like a converging orange on the tip of his spear. He baps you, and then he lunges at you. You have to catch these with your prayer on the exact right tick, or it hits you. So it turns your protect melee off, and you have to turn it back on as he's about to hit you each time. And there's not really a good way of doing this besides using a sim or just doing the fight. You just kind of have to learn it. If he's above 50% health, that timing is going to be, and people have a bunch of ways of calling this, but I'm calling it what it feels like, which is 3 ticks, and then 3 ticks, and then 3 ticks. So he's going to go bap, 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 right? If he's below 50% health, there's a delay on the last one. So he goes bap, 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 right? Very scientific. I've seen people describe this like the exact amount of ticks you need to wait and that kind of thing. It's easier to do it as a feeling thing. Short delay on the first attack, short delay on the second attack. Based on his health, either short delay on the third attack or long delay. So you just need to keep track of if he's below or above 50% health for that. Other attack he can do, there's one more special. It's grapple. So for grapple, he drops his shit, sticks his hand back, and he does this. Okay? That's the grapple. For grapple, he's going to shout out text above him and in your chat box what limb he's targeting, which is legs, chest plate, cape, gloves, boots, all of these 5 items it could be. He'll say your back, cripple. I don't remember the exact text. It's pretty obvious in the moment though. He says he'll rip your hands off, your feet off, he'll break your back. You're looking at the text on the screen. You actually have a very long delay before it actually hits you. From the time he's doing this, he goes like, he sticks his hand back and he goes like this and he closes his hand. This is the end of the tick. So if you click now, you're still catching the grapple, right? So you have an extremely long time. Now, if you nail this perfectly and you get it on the exact right tick, which is as he starts moving his hand towards you, that tick is the last tick you have to catch it. That will give you a guaranteed max hit on your next attack. And it sounds like you don't need to necessarily do that on your first soul, but I am telling you, if you nail the perfect parries, your life is going to be so much fucking easier. And it's so free. It's so utterly free. It's like, oh boy, he's doing grapple. It saves about 10 seconds every grapple you get. 10 seconds less of fighting the boss is 3 attacks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. So try to nail that. It's really, really helpful. I think that's it. The last 10% of his health, he's shooting tons of lightning down, but it's only the last 100 health. So you should kill him in about 2 or 3 swings. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, I think we're good. What do you click? Your gear piece. So you're hovering your gear piece, watching him. Most people don't realize how long you have on the grapple, and they click it really early because they're panicking. They're like, I gotta click it. But you actually have like a small eternity. It's like 5 ticks or something before it hits you. Hover your gear piece that you need to and click it. Is it too late if you click on the armor the moment he reaches? The end of the tick is him closing his fist in front of you. So he goes like this. Close his fist. That's when it's over. That's when it's too late. I don't have Watchdog anymore. Sorry, this is impossible. Unlucky. It's lost. Okay, I think we're good. We have a quartet that's going to spawn at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray against it and just get into cycle with soul, start doing the dance, and then kill it when it's convenient. I am not going to immediately go, ah! And panic and run around and lose 80 health like everybody else does. Okay, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm also going to enjoy a free death charge off of it. So I'm going to double spec the boss while praying against the quartet and then kill it. There's 2 ways to dodge the spears as well. You can do it off of his corners or off of the dead center. So if you're running out of space, you have options. You can actually dodge in a lot of different waves. I'm going to be stepping back mid and then back diag. You could also step back from the corner and then back diag. Those are both options. So it just depends what's ragged in the moment. I'm probably going to brew after I have full stacks and go from there. Frailty 2, let's see it. Activate your prayer. You're going to get a cutscene the first time you do this, so that's going to be on the screen. Okay, I'm going to be spam clicking soul, watching for what spawns. It's a melee. Double spec landed. Step back diag because it was just a spear. And step back in. Spear again. And we're good. So that's how you do it with quartet. Okay, he's just doing spears. That's pretty free. Okay, he always rags the tile underneath you. I don't remember what it was.
Uh-oh, guys. Watch out for this
That's average.
Don't get stacked out.
I biked staring at my feet. It would hit a fucking 42. That's like near max. Okay, unlucky. Okay, I guess we just fly through one more and I don't explain things. Would have been so bad if you kept stacks. Yeah, that's the annoying thing is Soul Reaper. So that's legit Soul Reaper death. Okay, I'm gonna full send and I'll explain what I'm doing, okay? Just like talk out loud what I'm doing. Relentless 2, always the choice on soul. Relentless does nothing on soul. All right, going. All right, shield. Shield into spear, so it's back 1. So I'm gonna go back diag. Okay, it's still gonna be back diag. One of the things that helped me is saying out loud, like what he's gonna do. Back mid. Just say out loud what you're gonna do next. Okay, back 2. That's gonna be back 1. Catch it. Catch it. Catch it. And he's gonna do spear next because he just did a special. Back diag. Back mid. The lasers always work out with his attack timing. You never have to worry about that. You always can do it. Okay, it's back 1. So I'm going to drag him. And then back diag. And then back 1. Okay, wait for the arm to move. Legs. Oh, another thing. When he does a special, it always resets that counter. So it's as if he did nothing the last attack. So that always changes things. That can throw you off, so just keep that in mind. Okay, it's back diag here. Okay, I'm going to rotate up to here because I don't want to get pinned against the wall, right? So back to standing at this center. Okay, now it's going to be a long delay. There you go. Back 1. So after each special, it's always going to be back 1. So that keeps it very simple. Back 1 mid. Okay, back diag. And just drag him. Still back diag. All right. Still a long delay. Long, 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 and click it. Back 1. Okay, this is going to be Enrage. And like I said, like, yes, Enrage is a thing, but, like, he's dead now. Right? So it's not really a concern. So there you go. That's Soul. I think I did it perfectly, as far as I could tell. Big thing is don't let yourself get pinned against a wall and control the boss. I'm always telling people control the boss. What I did there was once I got against the wall, when it's convenient, I rotated over here, right? So control the boss. Keep him where you want him to be. Don't let him push you against a wall and then just... Usually what people do is they get down to... They do fine up until this point where they get down to here. And then they're like, oh no, what do I do? And then the boss just starts railing you. So like... Get out of the way, get back in position, back to the center of him, and start pulling him. If I pulled him to this wall, what would I do? When it's convenient, move him up to here, right? Soul Reaper is very close to Scythe. It's not bad at all in Soul, so you can see it's not really a big deal doing this. What's my KC? 109, no pet. Yeah, that's average. You say he can only use Spear after special. Not after special. He can use anything after special, but it will be one back mid every time. After he phases, which is the 90%, 75%, the lightning casting down, that's always a spear every time. That's what I was talking about. Not the specials. The specials are not always a spear. That can also be a shield. But it doesn't really matter with the specials because it's always going to be the first iteration of whatever attack it was. So it's always back mid one after a special, which is grapple or parry. Both of those are just back mid one. But when he phases, he will do a spear next. But it does remember what he just did. So you need to remember back diag or back mid. Know what he's going to do and know what you're going to do. Don't react to anything Soul does. Do it proactively. Yes. Fight him proactively. Don't just do nothing. Buy YouTube. All it took was 2 deaths.